Within the Left 4 Dead universe, at the end of the Left 4 Dead 1 crew story, Bill ends up sacrificing himself for the betterment of the team within the Sacrifice campaign. But today's episode of What If, I want to talk about the idea of what if Bill lived? After all these years of Left 4 Dead, everyone just presumed that Bill was always going to die. It was guaranteed in their minds, and that there was nothing we could do about it. Bill was destined to die. But what if he didn't? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 What If. For those that are new to the series and don't know what this series is about, basically it takes inspiration from the Marvel What If series that's produced by Disney, where we take storyline elements from Left 4 Dead and we put a twist on them and just simply ask the question, what if? What if X, Y, and Z were different? And if so, how would that affect the universe within the Left 4 Dead story? If you guys end up enjoying today's video and enjoy this what if idea, please make sure you drop a like, comment down below what you would like me to talk about next for this series. And yeah guys, let's get on with today's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 What If. So the first thing that we're going to have to look at is Bill's canonical death and the way he exactly dies. I'm not only going to take inspiration from the gameplay, but I'm also going to take inspiration from the Left 4 Dead comics, which if you guys have never read these before, I recommend that you do, because this will also give some context to what I'm talking about. So when you end up playing the passing campaign and also looking at the Left 4 Dead comics, Bill ends up dying in this spot, which is going to end up being the room that's to the left of the generator that Bill tries to turn on so that way the bridge can go back up. The way he ends up in this room is because a tank basically backfists him, so that way he corpse launches and ends up basically being at critical health. He's most likely internally bleeding because of all the blood that he's lost. It is at this point that we see the final moments of Bill, where he's about to smoke a cigar before his supposed demise. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, how the hell is Bill gonna get out of this one? He is severely injured. If it was gameplay logic wise, he would basically be incapacitated at this point, and he's absolutely all alone with 3 tanks surrounding him. So here's the thing that I'm going to address that's technically going to end up being a loophole and a weird exception, but this is going to be the only way that I can fathom that this would even be remotely possible given the circumstances that I'm trying to lay out for the story. Even though Bill ends up living in this what if idea, he still has to die. Now before you click off this video and think that this is utter bullshit, please let me explain. This will make sense as soon as I clarify this. We are going to end up doing gameplay logic here and talk about the defibrillator, because there's nothing stopping Bill from being resuscitated. We have had it in Left 4 Dead several times before where our fellow survivors have suffered brutal injuries, ones that they should never walk away from. And yet, when you end up taking a defib, you just go zappity zap zap, and all of a sudden they're completely fine, like as if nothing ever happened. The only thing that may end up happening is that they might be a little bit lower on HP, but technically when you defibrillate them, their HP goes back into the green anyways, so basically Bill would end up being at good health again. So how would this be able to happen though, when there's 3 tanks surrounding Bill, and also the Left 4 Dead 1 survivors think he's dead? Especially given the fact that in the comics, the Left 4 Dead 1 crew never ends up leaving for the island right away. They actually wait out the zombies, so as long as the zombies are there, they won't leave to go to the islands. They're technically hovering around the area, trying to end up just waiting the zombies out, which means they haven't taken off quite yet. So far, in rapid succession, we have all these events. The bridge doesn't work, Bill jumps off to start the generator again, he succeeds, a tank severely injures him, the Left 4 Dead 1 survivors think he's dead, and now I'm proposing a defib idea. But who the heck is going to defibrillate Bill after he's been killed because the Left 4 Dead 1 crew doesn't think he's alive anymore? They don't even have a defib possibly in the circumstance. So who would end up doing it, and who would be the person that would be most likely to risk their life to try to resuscitate Bill? I am going to address another character that is from the Left 4 Dead universe, specifically from the comics, and you've only ever seen him once. And this is going to end up being Earl. Earl is a resident of the hospital that Bill was at right before the apocalypse broke out, and he was studying to become a doctor according to the comics, which means that Earl might have some medical knowledge that could be able to assist us in this situation. So by an utter miracle, a sheer act of God, within all the commotion that is taking place, Earl happens to stumble upon the same area where the Left 4 Dead 1 crew is, and notices that Bill just recently passed away. And he just so happens to have a defib and brings Bill back to life. But the thing is though, is within the situation, Bill is still critically injured. He is not able to survive on his own, and he's just barely alive. But because of the fact that Bill is alive, and also Earl's now making a whole bunch of commotion trying to bring Bill back, the zombies are focused on them, causing a distraction. The zombies are now focused on them two and no longer on Zoe, Francis, and Lewis. But Zoe, Francis, and Lewis notice the commotion, and they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Even though it's doubtful, there is a little glimpse of hope within their hearts that they think that Bill, the tough-as-nails son of a bitch that he is somehow still alive, because all they can do is hear gunfire off in the distance. So they end up locking and loading, taking the minigun that's on top of the bridge, they get all their remaining ammo, grenades and everything, and they lay lead into every single zombie. It is with the combined effort of every single survivor, they managed to end up killing every single zombie, including the tanks. But it isn't until every single zombie is dead that Bill ends up running into the Left 4 Dead 1 crew again by slowly merging around the corner, just like how you would in a cheesy scene in a movie. Everyone's super excited to see Bill, but they're also equally confused on who Earl is, but Bill has just enough energy left in him that he can clarify who he is so that way they just don't shoot him. However though, Bill at this point is basically will be the equivalent of black and white HP, so unless Bill gets some medical attention, he is once again going to die. So Earl, with the remainder of his supplies that he has left, he has enough just to get Bill by. So he ends up giving him some pain pills because he didn't have a med kit because he had a defibrillator instead, and he gets it so that way Bill is just stable enough that he can keep going, so that way he can be able to get to the boat and get off of this bridge. Now I know by the time that the passing campaign happens, the generator has been fixed by then, so that means that the bridge can go up and down with ease, but technically for the sake of this story, and also to make it a little bit more fun, we're just going to say that it's a fluke, and we're going to say that if they try to end up using the bridge again, it's going to end up having the exact same circumstance take place a second time. So what ends up happening? Well, because Earl is here and he wants to make sure that Bill lives to see another day, he is willing to put his life on the line and end up making it so that way the Left 4 Dead survivors can end up going to the island. He is going to end up taking his remaining bio bombs, Molotovs, pipe bombs, etc., throw grenades downstream, and basically end up distracting all the zombies by himself and kind of luring them away like Walking Dead style, where you train a horde and you try to like just get them into a different location. He is going to do that while he also starts the generator, so that way everyone can get on the bridge and then to the boat, and then that way they can also finally get to the island. Luckily though for us, the second time most of the zombies are dead, so even though some zombies may be attracted by a little bit of noise, it's not enough to end up making an impact, and so therefore the survivors are able to successfully escape, and they can see Earl running off in the distance, luring the zombies away for them, never to be seen again, because by the time that they end up going to the island, Earl is long gone. So even though I just gave you a script that sounds like it's from a Michael Bay movie, minus the explosions, this is basically my idea of what I would like to imagine would end up taking place in order for Bill to live and still have an epic story that is being told. And that is going to be my proposed idea of how Bill would end up living in Left 4 Dead 2 What If. But yeah guys, I hope you truly ended up enjoying today's episode of Left 4 Dead 2 What If. If you guys would like to financially support the channel, I would tremendously appreciate if you guys could go check out my Patreon. It is always linked down below in all my YouTube video descriptions. Please also use my supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite and Epic Games item shops, because Epic is my very first sponsor and they're sponsoring today's video, so shout out to Epic Games. But yeah guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thank you for watching guys, I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!